So, when buying a 20-year-old muscle car, you're going to experience some problems, whether it's engine wise, whether it's just cosmetic. So, today I'm going to show you some of the problems that this car has. So, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. Before we continue the video, make sure to subscribe so I can continue making videos for you guys. Now, with my car, I got a really good deal on it. I bought it for $1,500, but there's just with two things, the tires and brakes, that was already around $1,000 just for that. So there's just tiny little things, but they add up in the long run. Now, next up is the V6 versus V8. Now, as you see, I have the V6 here, not because I didn't want a V8 or I didn't want to deal with that. It's just because this was more affordable for what I was looking for. I'm pretty young for owning this, but it was a lot more affordable, especially with insurance, because V8 insurance for how young I am, it's absurd for how much it cost. And honestly, the V6 is not bad. You still get a rear wheel drive like the V8. You still get the muscle car feel. It's just a lot cheaper and less power, but it's still something that is really fun to work on and really fun to just drive around. The bad thing about the V6s over the V8s is there are just limited amounts of aftermarket parts you can get for them. There was only like one website that I could get any sort of aftermarket thing for this engine, and the other one was eBay, and I don't trust eBay parts for the engine, but the V8 definitely has more options. Now, looking back, yes, I wish I would have gotten a V8 over the V6, but for my first car and learning on how to do mechanical stuff on it, I think it was a great car to learn that stuff, especially with parts. Parts on this are extremely cheap, and if I broke one, it's not gonna send me out too much. So for a learning car, for a first car, getting into learning mechanical stuff, I think this is a great car. So we're first going to start here in the interior. Now, I wasn't expecting anything crazy for a 20-year-old car, but the amount of squeaks and rattles and these T-tops here, when I go to wash it, they will leak. And well, that's just some bigger things that you can see. Now, you got your dashboard, which they cracked everywhere. And that's just some of the stuff that you can see with your eyes. Just the cracks and all that. That's the stuff you can see with your eyes. Now, under these, you could usually see them, but the seats, they weren't very good either. They would crack and tear and everything. But that's mostly the stuff you can see, and it was just made with cheap plastic, so it would just break really easy. And now the stuff that is hidden, that stuff is annoying. Like the head unit stuff, usually those were not very good. And you got switches like these and the door handle and just little things like that. They'll start to add up in price after you replace 10 of them. You replace 10 different things. Now, the biggest thing on this interior that was the most pain to work on was the window motors. Those things were a pain to do because on them, they riveted them in, so you would have to drill out the rivets. You would have to take it out from inside the door, and it was a pain to do. But they weren't that expensive. It was just a pain to work on. Mostly everything from the inside, so now we're going to go to the outside of the car, and really, the outside of these cars aren't terrible other than the paint. As you see, most GM cars that had this right here with the Corvettes, as you see, it would bubble up like that, and then you can kind of see it back here. The clear coat, it is just horrendous how bad the clear coat is on these cars. And that's really the big thing on these cars is the paint on these, because really the body panels usually don't get terrible because they're all usually made of fiberglass, and it's not like they're going to dent, but most of the time the body panels are really good. It's just the paint that is awful. And finally, of course, you have the engine. Now, both the V6 and V8 of these engines were really, really good engines. The V6 being one of the best V6s really ever. But it still has its little quirks like sensors going bad and all that, and those start to add up when you replace a couple of them. And on my engine, the worst thing on it wasn't a sensor or anything, it was the head gasket. The head gasket blew, and it was not running too great. And head gaskets, they aren't expensive, they're just not very fun to do. And on this, it was annoying because of how tucked in that engine is. So that really was the big thing about this car, is just the head gasket, fixing that, and that really wasn't that hard either. Now, would I buy this car again if I had to? Well, honestly, I would, just because it gave me mechanical knowledge, it gave me something to work on, and if I broke something, it wasn't expensive. I wouldn't be set out hundreds and hundreds of dollars for breaking a sensor or something like that. It was just a overall good car I could work on and not worry about spending a ton of money if I broke something. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. If this helped you out, make sure to subscribe. And then in the comments, I want you guys to put what was one thing that you wish you knew before buying your car.